Alright guys, welcome to my video. Got the 1991 Mazda B2600. We're in the middle of winter, so this thing is disgustingly dirty. But that doesn't matter for the project that we're going to tackle here today. I got a Nissan Xterra center console, and I need to get that mounted down with some L brackets. And I'm going to be replacing these factory seats. That this one no longer goes forward. The typical handles broke off. And I picked up some seats out of a mid-90s Ford Escort that are pretty nice, kind of bucket-like seats. And I'm going to go through the process of taking these out, switching the bottom brackets, and getting them installed. Should be a pretty quick, easy install. So I'll get right to it. Alright, this will be pretty simple. 4 bolts hold down the factory seat rail. One here, this has a little cover over it. That pops right off real easy. And there's 4 of them, and we're going to use a 14mm socket to remove them. That's pretty straightforward. Everybody knows how to do that. I got the driver's side seat out. You can see where we stuffed some carpet up there in the top, try to fix that foam that's all busted. But basically, these seat tracks, we're going to take these out and reuse these. These are held on with 12mm socket head there. Of course, there's 4 of them. And then this is the new seat out of the Ford Escort. And I'll flip it over here and show you the bottom of it. Alright, here's the bottom of it. It's also held on with 4 bolts in the same exact fashion. And the same size, although it might be standard instead of millimeter, but I'll double check that before I take it off. And we're going to transfer the stock seat brackets onto the Ford. Easy enough. Bring to attention, between the seat rail and the seat is a little spacer. The bolts are longer in the front than the back. And you may want to duplicate this in your new seat or not. You'll have to actually just put it in and feel how it feels, how it's riding compared to your feet, compared to the floor. I'll let you know what I think of it when I'm done. Alright, the Mazda track fit right up to the Ford seat. No modifying of the holes. And I reused the Ford bolts into its Ford seat. They were all the same anyways. And then there's the Ford bracket I took off with a seatbelt attached, just so you know. Seatbelt's actually in the Mazda truck attached to the side floor there. I'm going to go do a test fit. Alright, on the passenger side, it's a little different. It has the foot quick kick release for the backseat passenger to make the seat flip forward and automatically slide forward based on this pressure spring right here. Now, I don't believe I'm going to be able to do that on the Ford seat, but as you can see over there, they do lean forward, so somebody can squeak into the extended cab. So anyways, I'm just going to clip this and remove this spring. And then this has like a rod here, just a single piece straight rod, and I can unbolt it and slide it out here, or I could permanently bend this tab up on the Mazda seat bracket here and take this little rod off. We'll see. That's not that important. Anybody can wing that part. Alright, for my next project here, while the seats are out, because I got to do some L brackets to hold this down. I got this old L bracket out of something out of the junkyard. You know, it was like a big U, but that was too long to bridge this gap right here. So I just cut it out, cut some distance out. Now my goal is to try to get this underneath here. So it's going to go something like that. I'm going to use a self-tapping screw. I'm going to put some tape down here to line up where this hole is here. And hopefully once this is screwed down tight, there's nothing in this channel, especially just a 1/4 inch through that carpet and metal. The drive shaft is inches away, and I got a short screw. So I'm going to definitely use the factory hole here on this bracket, and then probably another one, and that will help me adjust my angle to match this hole. It shouldn't be that hard to do, and that'll give this thing enough, you know, so it doesn't tip over and stuff. But like I said, this is out of a Nissan Xterra. On the Mazda trucking forums, a lot of people talk about using this center console, and they had one in the scrapyard, and you know, it's like $10 at mine for this piece. But if you wanted to buy a really clean one, it's pretty much perfect. They're on eBay for about 100 to 150. Mine needs a little bit of refurb work, but it's good enough. I guess I can show you my thought process here. This little mark, the long one, it's the center of this hole, and this looks like the outer reaches of where the bolt head would go. And then this line represents the center console. This line is where the center console sits, and that would make it even. So little quick test fit shows, you know, once I screw this down, it'll be right in the about right place there. I'll give it a shot. All right, there's my little brackets. The only thing I did wrong was I was using my power drill and I stripped out this size hole on my self-tapping. So I had to go up just a little bigger bolt. Hold that tight. Those two don't wiggle. Set this thing down over the top of it and get these screws in. I'll show it to you. All right, it's in. And it's just a hair high, but that's okay. It makes this more level right here. And I mean, that dang thing's sturdy. I don't have anything in these. It'd be a really long bracket, and you know, this is not going to happen. The seats will be here too, and I mean, heck, this thing is plenty sturdy like this. All right, let's get the seats in. I'll show you guys that all done. All right, there's the seats installed in the truck. Show you what we got. I think that's plenty of access for somebody to get into the back, maybe more than the stock seat actually. The only advice I give when putting these in, now since we used the brackets and they were so close, all these holes matched up, but always thread as much as you can by hand on all 4 of them before you do anything one all the way down. You want to make sure they thread by hand so you don't cross thread those, which could be a real pain in the butt retapping them. And other than that, I just got to put the beauty covers back on over the factory things. All right, seats are all in. So I did not use those spacers between where it bolts and here. The distance between here and the steering wheel is perfect for my legs, and that's a 1/2 inch. It actually might put me a little close, and it feels right anyway, so I got the right taper up here. And this is in my driving position. It's amazing how well these actually match the back bench really well. And I didn't bother like painting the tracks or anything right now. I'll clean them up and paint them another day. Probably going to replace the floor carpet at some point. And then the center armrest just is in a perfect position there when you're in the car driving. All right, I'll keep bringing you more projects on the Mazda here. It does have a sunroof installed in it and no headliner, so I'm gonna have to build a headliner for this thing also. Not an easy project, but we'll do that one in a future video. Thanks for watching.